AOPA is tightly locked into what's going on here. AOPA is fully aware of what's going on at this airport. That's important. However, we need to be the feet on the street here. We need to make sure we talk to elected officials, to the community, and so forth. So that's our job. AOPA is going to give us the air power, if you will. In addition, I'd like to welcome Carol Ford from Cal Pilots. Okay. Cal Pilots is a local organization. As the name says, it's California Pilots. And they are closely tied into what we do here as well. So what I'd like to tell you though is you're not alone in this fight. We get support, we get help, but we count on all of you to support the airports. All right, my time is already up. So the agenda for tonight is you'll see a presentation from Susan Ellenberg and Don Rocha about what they think about the airport for about an hour. At 7:30 we will have a CAPSO meeting, 15, 20 minutes or so, and happy hour after that. And in the back you see member sign-up tables and candidate support or donations to the campaign. Lastly, the exit sign leads you to the bathroom, right to that door, it's your bathroom, and exits are to your left, to your right. All right, I'm done.
All right, thank you, Walt. So everyone, my name is Anissa. I'm a CFI and a business owner here at Reid Hillview. I'll be your MC for this discussion. I would like to say that Scott Rolfing, he's an FAA designated pilot examiner, contract pilot, and also instructor. He was the real driving force behind setting up this forum, and he was intending to be the MC for this discussion. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do so. So if you find this forum useful, please do thank Scott for that, and if it's not, please let him know. If this hour seems a bit rushed, it is. The candidates both have limited time, so out of respect for their time, we're going to be holding very tight time limits on the questions and the answers. If you would like to ask the candidates questions, what I'd like you to do is go to Sam, who's standing over there with some cards. Put your question on the card. We'll have some time for 4 or 5 different questions from the audience after we go through this preset session, and we are going to be wrapping up at 7:30 precisely. So also please hold your applause for the end of the Q&A session so we can just move through this. With that, Walt took the other microphone. So with that, I'd like to give both Susan and Don an opportunity to tell us about themselves, their qualifications, interest in being county supervisor. And Susan, we'll start with you.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate your interest in this race and that you're taking the time tonight to learn about us. My interest in running for this seat stems from a lifetime of work in areas in which the county government is directly responsible. I'm a graduate of Columbia University School of Law, and my first career was as a real estate and land use attorney. Much work of county government involves the stewardship of open space, questions of environmental sustainability, and other complex legal and contractual issues with regard to land that is within the county's purview, such as where we are. I also have taught both students and adults about the importance of civic engagement, providing them with exposure to many local issues of social, political, and economic inequity, and then working with them through a variety of tools, from philanthropy and volunteering to political advocacy and social activism to affect change in their communities. As board chair of a large urban school district, I address issues that reflect a microcosm of the county. We provide education, but we also work to meet the needs of students who are unstably housed, have insufficient nutrition, and inconsistent health care. We connect students to services related to housing, immigration status, and mental and behavioral health care. We run our own transportation fleet, serve 17,000 meals a day, and focus on using clean, renewable energy to support our 42 sites. I know what the vulnerabilities are in our county because I'm already addressing them. As commissioner on the County Commission on the Status of Women, I've served as a jail monitor and studied the effects of our current criminal justice system on women, who are disproportionately women of color, and most of them are mothers. I've experienced working successfully with both labor and business without being beholden to either. Our county needs an independent voice, someone who is intelligent, thoughtful, and will work to deeply understand every issue from a wide variety of perspectives before making decisions that will impact the future of our community. In preparation for tonight's forum, I've spoken with numerous people who have experience, expertise, or strong opinions in this area. I had an opportunity to read the 2008 business plan and the recent 2018 update, and have heard probably more passionate advocacy on this topic than nearly any other during the campaign. So I'm really looking forward to tonight's conversation. Thanks again.
Hello, my name is Don Rocha. I'm a San Jose City Council member currently, previously on the Cambrian School Board. My experience, at least involved in aviation issues, goes way back to my first job as a city council assistant. I worked for, well, I'll throw a name out there, Charlotte Powers. Some of you may be familiar with her work. She was the liaison to the Airport Commission on the San Jose City Council. So I was involved in this particular issue during the days where San Jose International did their master plan and winded down their GA. And they eliminated the tie downs and the hangers. So I watched that happen, and that's when I learned how important it was Reid Hillview here as a reliever airport, and also to pick up those particular aircraft that got displaced. So for me, I understand what your particular issue is. I've been watching this from the sidelines because I've never represented this particular area, but I've seen council members and county supervisors talk about closing this particular airport. It's not one that I supported. I've never taken a position to support closing it. I recognize that that would also take an act of FAA, so really that discussion is moot until we have that conversation. I recognize how important this asset is. As you well know, in Santa Clara County and Silicon Valley, land is not easy to come by. So to suggest to close this airport without having a backup plan, I know South County is the one that's often referred to as a backup plan. I don't think it's a viable option. So with me, you know right up front that I support your cause. Thank you for having me, and this is by far the most unique forum, at least location for a forum that we've had. So thank you for your time.
All right, we're going to start some pre-set up questions that both candidates have seen before. This question, Don, will be first. We all agree that there's a housing crisis in Santa Clara County. Both of your campaigns are focused on housing as a major issue that needs to be addressed urgently. Affordable housing and ongoing management of the county's two reliever airports are two very different issues, but some want to use the housing crisis as an excuse to close Reid Hillview. Part one of the question is, what criteria will you use for what criteria will you be considering when selecting land for new affordable housing? For instance, would you propose repurposing public or quasi-public lands like the fairgrounds, or the rezoning of unutilized or underutilized lands such as Pleasant Hills Golf Course, Tully and White Rose, or some other solution? Part two is, would you vote to shut down Reid Hillview and use this 180 acres for affordable housing?
Thank you for the question. I answered, I guess, part two already in my opening. But as far as part one, my flyer's in the back, and if you take a look at it, you'll see that the number one issue in my flyer is housing affordability and homeless issues. So yes, housing affordability is my top issue. But as far as closing this particular facility down, that's not one of the options. Yes, the fairgrounds is another option, and we are looking at public lands, whether it's in school district sites, water district sites, city sites, and other county sites. The difficulty there is really, there's a lot of difficulties. Let me just cut to the chase here. I'm interested in looking at redeveloping sites and also public lands. Pleasant Hills is an option. I know that that site has been slated for housing quite some time back, and that hasn't moved forward because of the Evergreen specific plan. But I think the county needs to be more aggressive in terms of acquiring existing private land, if at all possible, and investing as much as we can in order to redevelop those sites for affordable housing. I am learning a lot about the public land side in terms of the county surpluses. They have taken a different approach, and they're seeing land as a major asset. So they're not very interested in surplus in land, but they are moving on looking at affordable sites with some of their existing land. San Jose City Hall, the old San Jose City Hall, which is now with the county property, that's one of the sites that they're looking at. So I think there are enough options, but I think we need to be more aggressive in terms of our timing. Again, I'll reiterate that this wouldn't be one of the sites that I would look at.
Thanks Repurposing public lands, I think, is really challenging because it's just that. These lands are public and must serve a public benefit. The fairgrounds, I'll start with that, has really been consistently underutilized. Some of the property you may know was sold to Rome developers who have built some affordable housing there, kind of on the edges with senior housing and low-income housing that appears to be running well. And I would support some additional land being designated for housing at the fairgrounds, but I really believe that a majority of that space needs to be dedicated in a way that will benefit the greatest amount of, the greatest number of people, our public at large. It's also one of the few remaining open spaces in the city, and while affordable housing is absolutely needed today, I would be really careful before recommending a change that would forever preclude that space from becoming accessible to a large portion of our community's population. And with regard to the airport, even if I wanted to vote to shut it down, it doesn't necessarily follow that this land would be available for affordable housing. First, the current FAA contract requires that the airport remain open for at least 12 years, so that will be no help at all in our current crisis. And second, the FAA would be likely to really fight hard against any use of the property other than for aviation purposes. So a long legal battle would potentially ensue, further delaying the property, making it even less likely that this should be used at any time for housing.
All right, our next question, this one will go to Susan first. No supervisor could be subject matter expert about or personally research every aspect of county policy, planning, and operations. In addition to county staff, the county has 17 commissions composed of 85 members, intended to provide a method for community members and industry experts to collaborate and advise the Board of Supervisors of the best use and management of county resources. For example, in 2008, the Board of Supervisors was told by County Council it would take an act of Congress to close Reid Hillview, and the Airports Commission has recommended taking FAA grants for both county airports for several years. How much weight do you put on the recommendations like these from the Airports Commission when making decisions for the betterment of the county and our airports?
So it's hard to give a percent.
It's hard to give a percentage, but certainly I would have a great respect for the opinions of the commissioners who dedicate the most time to studying the issues that are within their purview. When controversial issues are going to come before me as a supervisor, I will be certain to hear a wide variety of perspectives on the issues so that I can fully understand unintended consequences, ancillary issues, and other concerns that may not be presented by any single source. As a law student, I learned to measure the relative weight of a variety of sources. All information is not equally compelling, but we want to have as much information as possible. When I taught middle school students, one of the things we focused on was critical analysis of sources, and specifically for what purpose is a particular piece of material produced, what could be the bias of the audience, what's the credibility of the sources, who benefits from this particular policy or position, and who may suffer from it. I hope that this provides insight into how I will approach decision making as a supervisor.
As a city council member, we also have commissions that we look to. And for me, it's been a struggle because you want to make sure that you consider all of those particular issues on the inside because you've asked these. I'm trying to talk about it. So you've asked these residents, these volunteers who get paid nothing, to provide input to the elected officials. So these folks are giving up their time.